Men don't expect you to be perfect.
No.
We do not expect women to fit one specific mold.
Yeah.
Most women out there can find male suitors because we are actually far more forgiving of female body types and all their splendorous forms. All right.
Just a guest.
So, question of the day, since there's not a lot going on outside of Trump, Ukraine, and the Kurds and Turkey, we don't have enough info on that yet, so we always try to wait.
Yeah.
This is something that's just been... Let me ask you, totally unrelated, do you buy into the whole idea of the unrealistic female body image standard and that we live in an unfair society? Because you hear about this so much, and I feel as though everyone rolls their eyes when they hear a woman going, it's really hard for a woman today in the industry. We go, oh, okay. So let me, I'm not making a lot of sense. Let me kind of...
That's a rough woman.
Set this up really quickly before we go to a clip. To accept the idea of this double standard as established by patriarchy, the idea of an unrealistic female body standard in a cruel society, you have to accept three premises, okay? One, there's a universally accepted unrealistic body standard set for women.
Yeah.
Two, that it's enforced upon women by men. And three, that this standard is exclusively or unfairly applied toward women. None of those are true. I think that's why all of us are sick with the fat pride and everyone talking about how women are held to some unrealistic standard.
Yeah.
But lest you take my word for it, here are some other people making these arguments.
The double agent for the patriarchy is basically just a woman who perhaps unknowingly is still putting the patriarchal narrative out into the world. But you are
like
selling
lipstick,
us something
hair extensions, fake
that
eyelashes, and
that really
couture.
Doesn't make us feel good. You're selling us an ideal, a body shape.
It's a double standard because, there are men with really
her.
beautiful women that don't have great bodies, and yet nobody's saying anything about that.
I think it hits a little too close to home with Portia Del Rossi. I think that's what she's upset about. Okay, a couple of things here.
Yeah.
This is not exclusive to you, women. And I want to say, here's the silver lining. And this is why we get really pissed off when we talk about fat pride. Men don't expect you to be perfect.
No.
We do not expect women to fit one specific mold. We do not expect you to be a size 0. The beauty is, women, if you're married, your husband finds you attractive or your boyfriend finds you attractive, he wants to see you naked.
Yeah.
Most women out there can find male suitors because we are actually far more forgiving of female body types and all their splendorous forms than women are. And I think women, you're harder on men than men are on women. So a couple of things. First off, it's important to understand there is an ideal, there's a beauty standard that's set when it goes, you're watching a film, we're admiring someone's beauty. Of course.
Yeah.
That is something that actually exists. It doesn't mean that we expect everybody to look that way. And there wasn't a secret meeting behind women's back where we said, hey, we don't even like boobs and butts. We're just going to throw this out there to throw them for a loop. So there was something recently like this. Every time some advertisement comes out where there's a beautiful person, the social justice warriors get upset about it. I think this was, remember this? We have this, it was a protein shake, I think, that sparked outrage in London.
Asking women in big, bold letters, are you Beachbody ready? Women calling the ad campaign sexist and body shaming.
Okay.
Body shaming.
Yeah, I don't know what this term body shaming means. If you're ashamed of your body, then that's your own thing, and some of you should be ashamed of your body. Look at their advertisements for men. Okay, right here. There you go. Look, I'm one green smoothie away from that.
Oh my
Just a little workout, we're dead.
And we hear this all the time. I think the reason, and this creates more of a divide, it's this divide and conquer between men and women, where women think that men expect something from them that they don't, and then women throw out this idea that, oh, you know what, but it's okay for men to be fat. They're not held to these standards. Look, and they start naming comedians like John Belushi, not Jim Belushi. That's a bridge too far. No one likes that.
Nobody.
According to Jim, I've seen Make-A-Wish Foundation videos that are funnier than according to Jim. But let's look at the famous fat guys out there. You look at Chris Farley, you look at these comedians. No one was using them to advertise weight loss shakes.
No.
They weren't valued for their looks. They were valued for their contributions to comedy. Think about this for a second. Cary Grant, Gregory Peck, up to Hugh Jackman. None of them were ever fat guys.
No.
None of them. This idea that there's no standard set for men or that men cannot feel uncomfortable in their own skin, this is a lie. And it's also why these three premises are important. Has it been enforced upon women by men, and it is applied exclusively to women? I say no.
No, I don't think so. And it's weird to say too, like that that, like you said, that there's some thing that we got together and decided this is what beauty is.
Right.
It's symmetry a lot of times that we see, and that can come in all kinds of shapes and sizes as long as it's symmetrical. They've done studies on this.
Well, I also think it's far harder for a man to attain the standards that you would see in magazines while we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Let's do it right here. Here's a cover of Cosmo the same month as a cover of Men's Health. Which one of those is more attainable?
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like, I get it. Men don't necessarily feel pressure. We don't look at that and go like, "Oh my gosh, can you believe?" No, we look at it and go like, "Oh, okay, well that guy did something."
Yeah.
He did do
job,
a lot
fellow.
of things.
Likely took diuretics
Yeah.
and anabolic steroids, and he was in a hot Epsom salt bath with wintergreen, dehydrating himself. She just had to do yoga for a few months.
Yeah.
All men expect of you women, all men expect is for you to not be wildly unhealthy.
Yes.
That's it. And here's something else. To push this idea of body positivity, now we've gone so far that we are actually encouraging people to be unhealthy. Cosmo decided to reverse course because that woman, of course, was offensive.
Of course.
And unattainable. No woman in the natural realm could look like that.
Right.
So we now put Tess Holliday on the cover. I think we have it over there. Yeah, there you go. Show me a men's magazine that glorifies a fat guy like you won't find it.
Yeah.
No one is trying to find the guy who bathes in a pig trough and put him on the cover of Men's Journal.
Do they charge more for tattoos if your body is bigger?
I have no idea.
Got to be more time and area to cover.
Here's a study to back this up. A study of 12,000 people showed that stats for both men and women, they're the same. About a quarter felt very to extremely satisfied with their appearances, regardless of gender. And this is something else, too, this idea that it's dictated by men. And this is why I want this. I come bearing you tidings of great joy. We don't expect this from you. And this is why men roll their eyes and say, oh my gosh, you have a victim complex. Like, you just don't understand. No, we don't expect you to look like Kate Upton. We think she's pretty, but when you feel these unrealistic standards of beauty being applied to you, or you feel as though you have to live up to them, then all of a sudden, as you heard that first lady in the rouge and lipstick and the hair extensions.
And everything she apparently hates.
Yeah, as Jordan Peterson points out, well, the rouge is meant to mimic the sexual flushing that occurs when it's like, okay, well, that's probably true. That's why you're putting on makeup.
High heels lift up the butt.
He's a smart guy.
But let me ask you this. Here are the people. We're talking about something different. The entertainment industry and the fashion industry. Really, that's really more of a byproduct of consumerist culture, right? Where they're trying to sell you beauty products. Well, do we really think that straight men are in charge of the patriarchy? I don't know. Let's go to the tail of the tape.
It really is survival of the fittest, okay?
OMG.
This is my new look. Do you think I should be making him red?
Yes.
Ruffled shrug in vinyl. Busy and tacky.
Totally
You're stuck
straight.
in the Dapper Dan look, that it has to be a pant and a cool jacket. Don't you give up on me.
Real 80s b***y, kind of like Knots Landing.
Oh, I didn't want to do
What bunch of bullshit. Bullshit.
Now, just
that was
assume.
stern.
Let's just imagine for a moment that a straight guy behaved that way with women. No, listen. Your bone to pick is with women who run the fashion and their gay male counterparts. Okay,
Yes.
I think we have this actually from Houston Press that a majority of fashion magazines, they have female editorial staff because #allwomen, female empowerment. They're the ones who want you to look rail thin. This is something people need to understand as well. If you look at women's magazines. Things like Cosmo or things like, what are other women's magazines? Vanity Fair? I have no idea. No, Vanity Fairs, I don't
That's like movies
know.
or something?
Yeah, what are the women's?
Or you look at the fashion runway models, I guess. They're the ones who
17?
look
I
like
don't
they're
know.
something from a Spielberg film. Those are marketed toward women, right? What's marketed toward men as far as magazines, that would maybe like Playboy or FHM. The women are curvier. The women are larger. This is what men find more attractive. The glorification of super tall, super thin, ultra skinny, unrealistic women. And by the way, some women look that way. Let's not condemn them because you don't want them to develop an eating disorder. But that idea is that that's the only way to be attractive is pushed by none other than your sisters and I guess they're gay male sisters.
Yeah, the other sister queen.
This is
The
why
allies,
we're like, listen, these
I
things
guess.
are what they are. Do not blame me, said the entire row of straight men. We want to see you naked no matter what. We think you're attractive. By the way, hit the notification bell. Join Mug Club, loudwithcarter.com/Mug Club, because YouTube will probably shut this down because everything's offensive nowadays.
So.
I think something else that we need to look at is this something that is applied only to women? As it turns out, the bar is set higher for men. So let's look at this. If you look at dating apps, a lot of people don't realize this. Women actually are far more harsh in rating men's appearances, which surprised me because I will concede that men are more visually stimulated.
Right.
Yeah. Men like looking at attractive women. We just tend to see almost all women as attractive. It's like, hey, there's a naked woman. What do you think? I think she looks good. Hey, here's another naked woman who's an entirely different size and stature. What do you think? Yeah, I think it looks good.
It's a wide spectrum.
Look at that. That's a woman
Yeah.
naked. I like that too. But women,
Aces.
as opposed to men who rate on a bell curve,
Yeah.
women rate over 80% of men as being below average attractiveness if you look at these dating apps. So here's the thing. Even though many of you out there, women, you may just look like this. You may look like an average woman, right?
Right.
Most men still see this, okay? Now, that being said, for most men, you may look like this. You may look like an average man. Most women see this. This is what they're seeing, yeah.
Oh,
And this is something else, by the way, while we talk
I didn't
about
think you could
unrealistic
look
standards. We're not just talking about magazine covers. Let me just trying to provide some understanding here, just bridging the gender gap,
Yeah.
biological sex gap, because I can't
that's right.
bridge 57 gaps.
Yeah.
not
Too many
at
gaps
once,
to bridge.
at least.
We have far fewer tools at our disposal, men, it's
true.
to cover up our shortcomings. Can't wear makeup, high heels, wigs. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that
Yeah.
for a second. Well, you're a guy in high school. If you're short and you got bad skin, you're just out of luck.
You're just screwed.
You better hope
It's
that puberty
tough
deals you
deal.
some better hands, and most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
Women
You're
can
really
cheat
smart.
it. And by the way, if you try to cover up as it, if you're caught putting lifts in your shoes, then all of your male friends will file you in the cabinet in the same drawer as all those gay male fashion designers. They will assume that if you put lifts in your shoes and use Clearasil cover-up on your zit, that maybe, just maybe, you want to be the next judge on Project Runway.
That's a reasonable assumption.
Height is another one. I think we have some
Yeah.
studies here. Women have unrealistic expectations of men as it relates to height.
I'm okay with this
Men
one.
who are taller are more successful in business.
Sorry.
Tall.
Sorry.
Oh, is this? I thought you were about to say. I thought you hit your light there to say something.
No, I didn't hit my light. I said I'm okay with this one because I was tall from a very young age, so I never had to deal with it.
This is one of those things where it's I think pissed everybody off, every
Yeah.
man off at some point. We don't necessarily know why. I think it's because we know this to be untrue. Women, if you feel bad about how you look, you probably feel worse than most men see you. That's what you need to understand. Most
Yeah.
men view you through the
Very,
lens.
very
Every
much so,
guy
yeah.
every guy here has a wife, okay?
Yeah.
Every guy here has a wife.
New to the
and
club, yes.
they're all attractive.
Yeah, my man.
Right? And I say this
Yeah.
respectfully. They all look very, very different.
Yeah.
Tall, thin. We have some who are shorter. We have some who are curvier. We have some who are thinner. We have some who are more athletic. We all think they're beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know when this started, this idea that if we admire someone who's beautiful, and no one expects this in real life. If you look at a Jessica Alba or, I don't know, a Kate Upton, we can look at it and say that it's nice, but this idea that men have been putting pressure on their wives or putting pressure on their significant other to look that way, I've never experienced it. I only see it in films, in the entertainment industry, where you go, you know what, if you worked out every now and then, maybe you could lose a couple of pounds. That's usually like the douchebag, redneck husband.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in real life.
Yeah.
Every time in real life, you know what happens? Woman drops her clothes and the guy says, I'm ready. Okay, let's go.
It's a natural
Game
reaction.
on.
It's built. Well, look, I think women put an unrealistic standard on other women.
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
I don't think that there aren't men out there that do this. Of course, there are some douchebag guys out there with
Of
unrealistic expectations, but we're not talking about those guys. We're talking about the mainstream guys. And I'm telling you, women, you have these standards for yourselves way more than guys do. My wife comes down and she says, hey, how do I look? And I'm like, honey, I'm a really bad person to ask this
That's
because I
because you're
think you're
oblivious.
beautiful all the time, right? And
Yeah.
so a woman would be like, oh, don't do this, put this here, do that. Like,
Yeah.
she would critique it, and in a good way, right? But sometimes they just tear each other down. And that's not guys putting the pressure on, that's other women.
Right. And the people who are championing this lie, by the way, are the people often perched atop their mountain from the one industry where they actually do this, which is the entertainment industry and the media. They're the ones creating these stories and these narratives, these
Right.
sexist ads, these unrealistic beauty standards. Okay, go down to your local paper mill, for crying out loud. Go down to your local, I don't know, contract furniture company. Pick some kind of a local business and see if they are enforcing an unrealistic beauty standard upon women. The only place it happens is in the entertainment industry and Hollywood and the media, and they are the ones who bitch about it happening, and then they pin it on
That's
us.
weird, yeah.
This is what I'm just trying to say, women out there. Fat pride is a bridge too far, okay? But if a man
Doesn't
is saying, we're not that interested in a land whale whose blood type is pudding, it doesn't mean that we expect you all to look like Sienna Miller. It's okay to, as long as you take care of yourself, you're within the boundaries of general health. Most men find you attractive. No one expects you to look the way that you think for some reason you're expected to look, and the people who want you to feel that way are gay fashion designers and bitchy women who for some reason now have some kind of a bully pulpit. I say you should take them out and then take your husband out for a nice meal, take your clothes off, because guess what? He'll be ready to go. Okay. Sure change. See, that's the magic of YouTube and editing. But if you did like this segment on male and female body images, you might like this whole show. That's available at louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub. We did a full review of The Joker along with your letters that day. Like a full hour of content. If you don't want to subscribe at louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub, which means that you're okay with this show going away forever because we've been demonetized for a long time, click one of these other videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. And if not, then I don't, I guess thanks for stopping by, but not really.